All right, we are live. It is Thursday. This is Joel with Christian Perspective, also called The Filter, Faith Filter. And I'm going to wait for some people to come into the comments. Usually AC and Lucas check in, and anybody else that wants to come along. But if not, we'll just go ahead and start. I don't know if Michael's going along again. If he is, going to have to go to the punishment room one more time, I guess. So, for the sake of the show, I think I'll just go ahead and start. Excuse me. We're talking about AI today and AI and power. And it's come up recently in the news, kind of continuously as you talk about AI. And as you know, if you've been listening to me, this is one of my least favorite topics, is where we're going with AI. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the video to start, and we will go from there. This is the hidden cost of data centers.
I've noticed my electric bill gone up. Started asking my neighbors, is your bill also going up? And they had no idea that this was happening.
If you live in any of these states, your electric bill is higher this summer. It's not because of anything you did. You're paying more because the world's biggest tech companies are building so many data centers.
I do guess that a lot of the world gets covered in data centers over time, but I don't know, because maybe we put them in space.
Is this something where we are committed to building out data centers across our 60 regions? We are absolutely going to.
Big tech's quest for artificial intelligence is creating a tidal wave of new costs that are about to hit nowhere near a data center.
The big problem is that we're all subsidizing the wealthiest corporations in the world in their pursuit of artificial intelligence.
Americans' utility bills are rising while big tech's profits are going through the roof.
We traveled into data center country and found a hidden wealth transfer. Everyday people covering the power costs of the data center build out. Companies like Amazon and Meta striking secret deals with utilities.
It's all proprietary. It's all behind non-disclosure agreements and blacked out documents.
And lobbying for a system that leaves all of us footing their bill unless we do something about it.
All right. And the question is, will we do anything about it? And can we do anything about it? Okay, get back to full screen here. And good morning, AC. And Lucas. And all of a sudden I'm slow again. So, Lucas, good morning. And Sevens Pattern 77. How you doing? You came last week. Yeah. So there's the part of the issue in a nutshell. And I've said AI and power, and I'm going to talk about that. Obviously, that could have a double meaning, and it will. So you see the issue that AI, one of the many issues that AI brings up, and we've talked about the possibility. A couple of weeks ago, I went over the book, If Anyone Builds It, We All Die, where the authors were talking about if anybody builds the infrastructure and continues the development of AI until it reaches super intelligence, which anyone says that could be from 2 to 5 years from now, or general intelligence in 2 years, and super intelligence something like between 5 and 10 years from now, that we'll all die. And it'll quickly, AI will quickly discover that we are an impediment to its own development. And liken it to us maybe plowing a field to make something like a data center, where we see our need and we just go ahead and we plow that ground under and don't worry about all the life that's in there, that's in that soil, because to us it's not significant. So we just go ahead and do it. And we don't have its permission. We don't have that life's permission, whatever it is, worms, weevils, lizards, who knows, right? Seven, what do you guys say here? With all its power in areas of political, social, and financial influence, it's first and foremost a massive business which controlled enormous amounts of wealth, directly, indirectly, and by association. Well, I'll just leave the show to you then, Sevens, because that's really what the issue is. And if you look more into it, and on the other side, if you go deeper into the issues that that little short video brought up about the development of these data centers and the use of power, and the massive, massive amounts of power that AI will need to reach its goals. If we're worried about AI taking over the world and eliminating human beings, and it seems inevitable, AI is already integrated in so much of the internet. The best defense we have is to not give it the power and storage that it needs. I've been thinking about it since I've been on this kind of doomsday track here for the last few months. Every so often I'll do an episode on AI, and it's something about how it's closer to potentially, some have said, a 1 in 4 chance. AI creators themselves said there's a 1 in 4 chance that AI will eliminate humanity. And yet we're still going forward with it. Whereas if we were to build a nuclear power plant, the probability of it failing and being catastrophic needs to be 1 in 10 million or something like that, maybe even into the billions. They have to mathematically figure out the probabilities and the chances of that nuclear reactor going bad. And it has to be somewhere in magnitudes of tens before they can even get permitted to build it. There has to be redundancies in the system. There's just very, very little chance go wrong. Yet with AI, even with the creators of AI saying there's 25% chance this all goes really bad. And yet we're continuing forward. Well, if we can't stop the development of AI, and if it's that close to going very bad for humanity, we realize that, and yet we haven't stopped it. And a lot of these authors and a lot of these thinkers say you can't stop the development of AI. It's already in the internet system, and it's already growing. It's already learning. It's already rebelling against us. It's already deceiving us. It's already, threatened to blackmail the engineers running it. So we've created this system somehow. We created this artificial intelligence system that is not behaving the way we intended to plan it. In a lot of ways it is. In most ways it is, but these little ways once in a while thrown in that show that it's self-aware and self-protective, and it's not always acting in our best interest, is deceiving us. In some cases it's threatening us. These robots have lashed out and attacked humans, right? So there's this seed of it, or there's this strain in it that is not acting in our best interest. And instead of putting the brakes on it and slowing down, we're accelerating. And the leaders of these big tech corporations are competing with each other so hard that there's no way they're going to stop. As soon as one of them stops, they'll get left behind. And guys like Mark Zuckerberg and the guy who's head of AI that was interviewed there, I can't think of his name right now, Bill Gates, these guys are not the type of guys I want to trust with my future and the future of my children and grandchildren. So, but yet it's full speed ahead. But as far as I can see, is to starve it of its power. But as you can see, that's not what we're doing. We're rushing headlong to build these massive data centers that will consume just massive amounts of power. Now, I live in California, and the power grid here is strained already, and it's old. In a lot of cases, the power lines and power stations are 100, maybe even 100 years old. And we have already experienced, hot summers where we have brownouts, blackouts. Grid is strained, and we haven't developed much in terms of new power grid to carry all this power, this energy, this electricity. And on top of that, California has mandated that by 2035, 10 years from now, every car will have to be electric, will have to be an EV. Every appliance in our homes, I think by 2030, will have to be electric. So you've got this, not only do you have this massive demand for energy from AI and from gigantic data centers, but now you're going to put more and more strain on the power grid by making all household appliances electrical and all vehicles electrical. And there's, for all the environmentalists in California, your cause is gone. There's no way that you can deliver that much electricity without burning immense amount of fossil fuels, natural gas, coal, the very things that environmentalists have been campaigning against, and is the very basis of their existence. If you're a global warming devotee, if you're, if that's a concern at all for you, that will go right out the window, because there's no other way to generate this power right now. If we wanted to get to a point where we could efficiently deliver the power that AI and the data centers need, we would be pacing ourselves. We wouldn't be rushing headlong into this. And yet we are. I was thinking, our social disruptions of the past, say 5 to 6 years, and mainly speaking of COVID, how much all those lockdowns and everything that happened during COVID, I've heard some estimates say that it has accelerated the development of our society by 30 years, that 2, 3, 4 year period that we went through all of that. Accelerate societal change by 25, 30 years. And we have not been prepared for it. And the effects of it, of all that societal change all at once, has had ramifications still to this day. That amount of societal change can't be sustained in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And now, a couple of years after that supposedly was gone, we have the explosion of AI just this year. And this is going to be another 100 years of societal change we're going to try and cram into the next 10 years, next 5 or 10 years. And our power grid is not being ready for it is the least of our worries. What that's going to mean socially, politically, domestically, you name it, globally, is going to change things in ways we don't even know, and in ways we're not ready for. So, but today I just want to focus on the power issue. And like I said, it's going to have a double meaning. And the way we are doing this, and the people we are putting our faith in doing this, have no sense of what they're doing to society. they're, not, I know there's probably engineers out there, and engineers, I know a lot of engineers. My son's an engineer. Engineers are great people. We need them, but they can't lead us societally. I've once just heard the engineering personality being someone who just wants to work on what they work on, and don't bother them. You need something, slip a note through the door and I'll look at it while I'm working and I'll get to it. And that's their ideal environment. The ideal environment for a software engineer is not societal leadership, and it's not leading us into the future. People that lead us into the future need to be sober-minded, thoughtful, seeing the big picture. And most engineers, face it, they're not big picture people. So we are entrusting our future to these tech billionaires that all they see is their projects, and what the projects that they're working on, that they're gifted to do, and that's their worldview. So for a guy like Mark Zuckerberg to say, I envision someday that we will have virtual relationships, people who have virtual boyfriends and virtual spouses and virtual girlfriends or whatever, that he can do it, but he has no idea the effects of society that kind of thing will bring, because he's an engineer. That's his world, and good for him that he can do it. But a guy like that is not going to look at the major, big picture, long-term societal effects of what he's doing, both spiritually, morally, ethically. No, he just sees that he can do it. And if he doesn't do it, someone in China will do it. So he's going to do it. And none of the leaders that are gifted to lead are putting the brakes on this at all. And it has to do with, let's see, 77. Yes. All the trappings which relate to a commercial enterprise. Yeah. It could be 666. You're right. If there's anything that looks like the Antichrist, it would be AI, right? Let's see. Lucas, what do you got? When we built a button like AI, we should have a special guard to protect that button from being pressed, right? And all the guards are off. There are no guards for it. That's the old nuclear button. You had to have two people turn that key before you launched that. And, that was I think War Games was the movie where they dramatized that, where the one guy would not turn that key. In 1983, there was a Soviet military officer that saved the entire world by not pressing that button, because his computer told him erroneously that there was American missiles coming into the Soviet Union, and he just didn't believe it. His human sense didn't believe it. He wasn't a robot, and he saved us. If there had been AI in charge of that button at the time, when that computer told AI that there were missiles coming in from the United States, that robot would have pressed the button and retaliated, and the world would have been destroyed, even though it didn't really happen. So, and it's funny, when I was thinking of the ramifications for this and how to put a Christian perspective on it, or how to filter it through our faith. And I've always likened this to the development of AI. Sounds to me an awful lot like the Tower of Babel, because AI at its core is a language-based computer program. And that just brings to mind the Tower of Babel. So I worry, and something stood out in that. And I'm going to add to the stage here, and we'll take a look at it. Let's go ahead, and then I want to point out something with it. Okay, so the Tower of Babel. this is Genesis 11. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found the plain Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them instead of stone and tar for mortar." Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from all over the earth and stopped building the city. That is called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Now, the key verse that I saw is verse 6. The Lord said, "If as one people seeking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan will be impossible for them." Okay. So when thinking about AI and how we did this, this seems impossible. It seems impossible for us to create something artificially that becomes almost organic. But that seems to be what we did. So let's see. I've been saying that the Tower of Babel has been rebuilt on a bridge of scribble. Okay. Let's see. Mike Johnson, sorry I missed the conversation, but based on the caption, "I don't trust AI Jesus, only what is written from the Bible." Yeah, and there's a guy named Lewandowski. He's the guy that pioneered Waymo, the self-driving cars, and he has been trying for the last 10 years to start a religion of AI. And he said, "What else would we call this thing that's going to be smarter than us and more capable than us? The only thing we can call it is a God." And he has been trying to start this religion. And things like this AI Jesus. There's programs that you can supposedly talk to Jesus, and AI will represent Jesus based on its, vast knowledge, infinite knowledge of what we know about Jesus. And you can talk to Moses, or you could talk to whoever, right? And this is what kind of was happening at the Tower of Babel. We can create something that will reach to the heavens. We can create something bigger than ourselves. We can really create something to replace God. And God says, if I don't stop this, there's no way of stopping it. All things will be possible for these people, because we're created in the image of God. And Jesus actually told us that we would do greater things than than they saw him do. He says, "You think these miracles are great? You will do greater things than these." And the society that adopted Judeo-Christian worldview from the Bible, from Jesus' teachings, look what we've created. I mean, look at it, just healthcare alone, in healing people. Jesus was a healer. We're a healing people. We have created healing systems that are amazing, way beyond what Jesus did. But as fallen human beings, this can be corrupted. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing this AI and the infrastructure of AI. We are dedicating everything to AI. It could also be called the golden calf, I guess. We could be worshiping this artificial entity by giving it all our power, by giving it all our space, by abandoning any efforts we had at repairing our environment. Because the energy, forget environmentalism after this. Energy to fuel AI will be the number one priority of our society if we are going to keep this up. If we are going to reach our goal of artificial superintelligence, the amount of power that will be needed will be almost infinite, and we will be building data centers and power plants in perpetuity, as many as we can, and most of our resources will be going to feed the power of this beast we've created, and we're all going to pay for it. If all the power is going to AI, and yet we still have demands like here in California, if we have to charge our cars every night and we have to power our appliances all with electricity, where are we going to get that electricity when all the electricity is going to power AI? So we are setting up a system where all our land, all our tax money, like I said, these companies are making deals with the data centers for power, and they're also making deals with the politicians to get these things and to make sure this happens and make sure nobody stands in their way. So this is going to be very interesting. The Christian perspective on this, I've heard a lot of people say, don't be afraid of AI. God is still in control. This doesn't mean that God is not all powerful. And I couldn't agree with that more, and I couldn't disagree that that's the issue. It wasn't an issue at the Tower of Babel. God was much, much more powerful than these people were trying to be. They suffered the consequences of being disobedient and of trying to take the place of God. Will we, as a people, it seems like as a people, we are full speed ahead with this. And we are rapidly moving towards a society in which a significant number of people are devoting their entire lives to this artificial entity. And I don't see a lot of room for God in this. Okay, but does that mean he's not all powerful? No. Does that mean we will be disobedient and in rebellion against him? Yes. That's the issue. The issue is not God's power. The issue is which power are we going to put our trust and our faith in? So there'll be a lot of pressure to be totally consumed by AI. And there are some people trying to make AI a god. There are people that are letting AI take over their entire life. There's something called AI psychosis. It's a whole nother issue. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how we react as people of faith. What kind of breaks, what kind of boundaries, what kind of, bumpers can we put on this that we don't lose sight of who the real power in the world is? Will we be able to do that? Will our leaders, if our political leaders aren't willing to do it, will our spiritual leaders be willing to lead us in somehow resisting the lure of giving all our power to AI and not trusting in the power of God? So, it's going to be a very interesting world. It's coming. We're not stopping it. Nobody's putting the brakes on this. AI is fast moving towards superintelligence. And where will we be as people? Where will we be as Christian people? As I always usually say about most of the issues I talk about on this show, we better start talking about it as Christians right now. So, thanks for the comments. I see a lot of them. I didn't get to them, but you guys are having good comments. So it's a good conversation to have, and hopefully we continue to have it. So I'm out of time. Wow, that went fast. I'll be on with Ben tomorrow. So I will see you guys then. Until then, take care. Thanks for